Today's topic is about a spiritual or a personal transformation. It's not that mysterious and it's more common than you think. In 2008, I started having a lot of unusual experiences, from physical to health-related to nightmares and accidents. Up until this point, my life had been pretty non-eventful. Working out, eating out, mostly working, of course, as a senior manager at a large entertainment company. Admittedly, I was not a happy camper. I was long divorced and living on my own. My job was very demanding and stressful. My moods went up and down with bouts of aggression and anger. I wanted a different life, but how? Not all of us are suited for high-stress jobs. Some thrive and some get sick. I'm not blaming the job or anything else. I just wasn't living a life that was suited to me, and I certainly was not alone. I can look back now and see all the different roads I could have taken, but at the time I was in the thick of it. I couldn't see a way out. We reach a point where we're doing well financially and we end up with obligations, so it's not easy to walk away, but eventually that's just what I did. At the time, I was putting financial security and obligations above my health and well-being, but I didn't see it. I forced myself along, getting by in the day-to-day. I didn't have children, and my family was across the country. When we aren't aware of our situation and how it's crushing our soul, we start getting what I call the knocks on the door. So began one thing after another, each knock becoming louder. I knew something was up, but I didn't understand what was happening. Something bigger than me was trying to get my attention. Call it what you will, the universe, God, higher self. Unbeknownst to me, my soul was crying out to spirit. I use terms such as waking up and spiritual awakening, as these are the terms that are widely used. But I tell my story from an everyday human perspective. I hope to take some stigma out of it. I didn't go looking for it. I wasn't traveling to gurus or going to retreats. I imagine that it happens this way for many of us. These experiences can follow an event or events such as loss, trauma, or grief. For me, it was a culmination of events that led to this popping, this awakening. Some of us have what we believe is a spiritual experience, and others believe that it's psychological, and they seek medical treatment. I and others in my family believe in a more holistic approach to things. We're not the rush to the doctor types. Neither is good or bad or right or wrong. It's a personal belief and preference. I was very much into health and fitness and only saw doctors for annual checkups. I leaned towards a preventative approach. When I started having all these events, these knocks on the door, I looked for answers in both the medical and alternative fields. Eventually, I had a health scare that led to a total reevaluation of my life. I no longer wanted to fit my round peg into the square hole. I felt it could be a matter of saving my life. I left my job and moved back home with nothing lined up. It was an amazing, freeing feeling. I was determined to heal and get myself in alignment. My priorities had been all wrong for me. I had been living some persona that I had created. Until this waking up series of events, I had never thought much about spirit or my soul. It was more of an abstract concept. However, I had always believed in there being more than what we can see. I was interested in mystical authors, tarot readers, and the I Ching. I knew there was guidance beyond the ego and intellect. Events that had started happening in 2008 were still with me, physical sensations that culminated in one big event, which is very hard to describe, but what I believe was a Kundalini awakening. This was only the tip of the iceberg, taking me into my dark night of the soul, a term from a poem written in the 1500s by St. John of the Cross. I ended up finding my answers on the spiritual end of things. When you have this experience, it's like waking up from a nightmare. Something flips, a light switch, and you're turned on. All the 5 senses are engaged, and you discover your sixth sense, your inner knowledge, and our connection to spirit. It's been a difficult process with ups and downs. Seeing myself in this world as it truly is stunned me. It's so instant and powerful, it's like getting a huge computer upgrade. When something remarkable happens to you, it's so personal and not anything you can show or prove. One proof is how much you change, and people close to you can see that. It's like a miracle or a near-death experience. The challenging aspect is now you must wait while your physical reality catches up. In my case, I no longer wanted to live the life of my made-up persona. I wanted more flexibility, more creativity, more time for quiet and contemplation. But it wasn't going to be easy. I was in this transformational process of looking within and healing the trauma. I looked at my shadow and psyche, which can be dark and scary. You see everything with this new perspective and knowing. It's suddenly so clear. I'm a big believer in Eckhart Tolle's teaching of being present. He wrote the book The Power of Now. The past no longer exists, but there are consequences to deal with. Healing yourself and cleaning up all the debris takes struggle and time. Many times I wanted to throw in the towel, but I had come too far to turn back. Plus, how could I do that to my soul? Our spirit keeps us going, our connection to the truth within. Only the truth will set you free. I believe that what happened to me is more of a mainstream topic than people might think, but as with everything, it is put into its own category. I had so many experiences over the years that some would never believe, or they would think it was imagined. There's no way for me to prove it, and no way for it to be disproven. I've gone through this process of transformation on my own with a little help from my friends close to me and friends like Eckhart Tolle, people that have had similar experiences. I'm grateful for this awakening, so dear to me. I believe it changed and saved my life. A big message that I'm hoping to get across is to pay attention to the knocks on the door. Try and step off the merry-go-round and check in with your soul. How is it going? How are you doing? When we don't pay attention, the knocking will get louder and louder. It's dangerous to think you can control it or fix it. That's a sign that you surely can't. It's not a fix, it's a healing. It's not a staying asleep, but a waking up. Another big message is that most of us are the rule and not the exception. Most of us will go through the fire. There may be some that experience an instant enlightenment, but that is an exception. This is a tough subject because it may not make sense when you're asleep, still in the dream. I know because I was asleep most of my life. There was a movie years ago called The Midnight Express. It made a big impression on me. There's a scene where Brad Davis is in a prison, and the prisoners are pushing a big heavy wheel around and around until our hero decides to turn around and push in the opposite direction. There was something in me yearning to do that myself. The other prisoners tried to get him to turn back the right way. It's not easy going against the conventional grain, the societal mainstream, and the hierarchy. It's not about being a renegade, although I can see that in my life I have been a disruptor. But there's another side of the coin. There's a middle path. There's more beyond this physical reality. There is a capital T truth within us. It's the treasure within, inside the box you're sitting on.